Right now, the construction industry appears to be improving, and in that time, it's very important for construction companies to manage two critical things. The first would be their working capital, which is what their bonding capacity is determined from. So some of the things to manage working capital would be to not only manage your cash position, a lot of contractors know that, but you also need to manage your receivables, manage your payables, and also as equipment purchases are needed. Right now the interest rates are still low, so it's very important to finance your equipment at those low interest rates instead of spending your cash to pay it off. Most contractors and everyone thinks debt is a bad thing, but actually in the construction industry, financing your long-term equipment is very important because it helps you maintain that working capital, which also helps you with your bonding capacity. Most surety companies calculate your bonding capacity by saying 10 to 20 times your working capital, depending on what that number is. During the downturn, a lot of companies let their working capital, not necessarily let their working capital, but their working capital did diminish. So now as the economy is picking back up, contractors are getting more jobs, so it's very important that they try to maximize that number. The other key component is cash flow, because during a growing economy, cash always seems to lag behind the completion of the projects. So right now, as your revenues are increasing and your jobs are increasing, your cash flow is going to follow 90, 120 days behind that. So managing your cash flow is just vital. Some of the things you can do to manage your cash flow effectively would be things such as billing as the contract allows. So if you can get ahead of your billings and have over billings, you're using your customers' cash to finance your project. The other things are to stay on top of your receivables, make sure they are collected on time, follow your pay when paid clauses, and as I said earlier about the working capital, is manage your debt on your equipment. Right now with the interest rates low, that's critical because otherwise you won't be able to get the contracts and the jobs that you want or you need. So those two things, I believe right now as the economy is picking back up, are the two most critical things that a contractor needs to watch. Some of the ways CRI can help with contractors is we go in and take a look at the working capital and we suggest ways to improve it. I know for my clients, I'll often look and see, are there any ways to refinance their debt? Are there any ways to maybe encumber the equipment that they paid off to then have more cash and have more working capital so that they can get the projects that they want? The key thing is to look at it, to plan before year end and get that look before year end, not only for tax planning, which most contractors know they may need, but also for the working capital, and because there are ways to enhance it. It's not a clear-cut way of there's nothing you can do. So what we try to do is go in and look at, calculate the number, see what they need, talk to their bonding agent, their surety company, about the thresholds that they're needing for their work they anticipate. And then we try to find a way to see what we can do to help with that number and get that working capital up. Cash flow management is generally not something we can help with other than advising. Most contractors are pretty good at that. It's a matter of right now to maximize that number.